Hello everyone, this is Tetsuya. In this series, I am going to introduce my international friends from over 30 countries to share their study experience in Japan. Today, I am going to introduce Leda from the Philippines. She's a very intelligent but aggressive girl who left a very well-paid and comfortable job she had in the Philippines to come to Japan to study. She got MBA at one of the best universities in Japan and enjoyed her life a lot in Japan. Now, enjoy the interview. Thank you so much for taking my interview today. So today's story is about study Japan experience. So my first question is, were you working before you came to Japan?
I've worked in finance. I started my career in finance and have basically worked across external audit and shared services. Before coming, and I was working in consulting where I was working on different projects such as internal audit, project management, all related to finance though.
I see. So I also like to know if your job was stable, like a good salary, very stable. You won't be quit easily.
Yes, so I was very lucky to find very good bosses and very good career path in the Philippines. And yeah, but the thing is my study was MBA, so it was kind of a level up and very much related to my field.
I see that's the reason why you decided to, well, you quit the job first, right?
Yes. So I had to quit my job because I wouldn't be able to work. Plus, you're not allowed to work because I got a scholarship. So I wasn't supposed to work. I was supposed to study full time.
Yeah, since you could get a scholarship, that's why you made a decision to quit the job and decide to come to Japan to study. I see. And you said the reason why you wanted to take an MBA is because it's related to your finance job. That's your field. And you said it's the reason why you decided to come to Japan is because you got a scholarship. But it's basically the all reasons why you came to Japan to study.
Well, actually, I learned of the scholarship from Japan because I was studying Japanese. So since college, since childhood, I've always been very passionate about Japan. I've been passionate about anime, and then I was studying a lot about the Japanese systems like your Kanban, the Toyota Way, and the different processes, how Kaizen basically is being implemented all over the world. And these are very Japanese words, and yet they've been adopted into the global standard. And so I was very fascinated about the Japanese way of working. And so when I saw this opportunity to move into Japan and study in Japan, then I definitely just grabbed it with both hands and never let go.
I see. The combination of those reasons brought you to Japan then.
I've really wanted to go to Japan, even outside of us. So
I see.
I've wanted to try in Japan, trying eating Japanese food and immersing in the culture.
I see. So I also like to know, you said you got a scholarship. What sort of scholarship did you get? What's the name of it?
From the Mombu Kakusho.
Mombu Kakusho scholarship.
I'm not sure. We call it MEX. So it's called the Young Leaders Program.
Young Leadership Program.
Yes. So we call it the YLP, where they allow certain students to apply, and they take 15 per year.
Yeah. So I think there are then two kinds of Mombu Kakusho scholarship. I think there's an ordinary one, which gives you maybe 1,500 US dollars per month. But I think Young Leadership Program scholarship gives you more, right?
So at least in my batch, I got Nijiyonman Nisen.
That's a lot. So I also like to know how many applicants there were to get the scholarship when you won the
Mm-hmm.
scholarship in the same I mean in the same year.
I have no idea how many
Uh-huh.
applicants.
Ah,
I
okay.
don't. But I know that when I was doing my interview, at least during the time of my interview, there's three
Yeah.
of us and only. So I come from the Philippines. They allow 15 countries to apply, or more than 15 countries, and then they get 15 people. I think they have 16 or 17 countries that are allowed to apply for the scholarship I applied to, and then they get 15 people. So on my case, there's probably at least 6 people from the Philippines, and I
Mhm.
got the slot. So it's not a per country basis; they just get 15, and that's it. So sometimes, for example, this year I think 4 from the Philippines got the scholarship.
Four
I
people.
don't know. Yeah, 4 from the Philippines.
Uh-huh.
So from Malaysia in my batch, there was 2 from Malaysia, 1 from the Philippines, 5 from India. So it differs. So it's basically just based on the number of applicants from different countries.
So at which university did you study?
I went to Hitotsubashi Daigaku.
Okay, and you took MBA course, right?
So Hitotsubashi has, I think, one that's in Japanese in Kunitachi, and
Yeah.
that's in one international corporate strategy called
Yeah.
ICS,
Yeah.
Ultimate, which is right across Imperial Palace.
Yeah. Thank you. So I then I also would like to ask you the next question that did you find did you find something good at the university in Japan? Something good means something good you possibly cannot find at the university in your country generally.
Versus Japan is a big difference.
Okay.
So Japan being a first world country, a developed country, and Philippines being a developing country, just the seats of the chairs, the whiteboards, everything, of course, very different. The building is different.
Uh,
Having an is different. For example, in the Philippines, I come from a university that has. I was on the 5th floor, and we're using stairs. Even no matter what floor you're at, we don't have elevator. At least
uh,
on that building. So we will just take the stairs everywhere. And in Japan, there's elevators everywhere. So very different in terms of facilities.
oh wow. Okay. Yeah, including such kind of very basic things. It's
Yeah.
there's a difference. But do
Mhm.
you find anything related to some academic matter? Like the course is different.
Well, when it comes to the academic subject, the one thing that you can only get in a Japanese school is the Japanese lessons and Japanese culture immersion. So we did a lot of Genba. We did a lot of Genba for corporate. I
Uh-huh.
went to, for example, the Shinkansen control office,
Oh, okay.
where we basically saw how the Shinkansen is being operated in Tokyo Station. So we went to Subaru, we went to Panasonic, we went to different companies, these big Japanese companies, and we had our speakers all from big Japan corporate world and understanding how they do things. Since we're at the center, we're at Otemachi, we basically have a lot of shachos coming to us, sharing their experiences and helping us understand their business models. So I don't think anybody else can do that. It's very, very Japan centric. And on the softer side, we also have a Japanese culture class where we got to go to a shrine and did a Zen session with priests in there. We also did Ikebana.
Ah,
We also what they call the ocha ceremony, where
yeah.
we got to see how they do things. We went and had what was the other one? I think it was Ogawara, the samurai school where they taught us lessons on manners, on how to do the right bow and how to do the manners and a million other things that you wouldn't really get. So it's a matter of immersion in a Japanese culture, which is very distinct from any other culture, I think. Because as opposed to any other culture in the Western world where it's mixed with a million other things, Japan is very uniquely Japan. Japan is very uniquely Japanese. So that kind of immersion, I don't think you're going to get in any other school.
Yeah, that's thank you for talking about that. That is a very interesting story. I didn't imagine that you talked about such a thing. So I also would like to know about the any good things you could find from the Japanese professors.
It might be different from any other experience because we have Zemi system.
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar with the Zemi system? Basically, we have 3 to 4 students with one mentor, with one professor. So it's very much more intimate. It's much more closer in that we get such professor that we get direct apprenticeship from, where we have, for example, sometimes we did once a week or every other 2 weeks, and we will have lessons on what we find interesting. And then since it's a small class, we have about 50 to 60 people. Everybody, all the professor knows us by name. We hang out with the professors, we go drinking with the professors. So I think that is something I haven't had experience from back home. Because here it's basically about all the professors just teaching 60 students, and that's it.
Ah, I see. Yeah, the seminar Zemi system is not existing in maybe in the university of your country.
Yeah, it's not in the Philippines at the very least because
I
we
see.
have about very few professors.
Did you, when you were communicating with Japanese professor, did you specifically found something uh, different from the professors in other countries or your countries? If they did,
Not really.
not
I
really.
think it's not really a professor per se. It's more on a human centric.
Mhm.
So I don't see them as this is a Filipino professor versus a Japanese professor. It's really a matter of the person itself, the professor themselves. So not really a matter of the Japanese is this way versus the Filipino professor.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So I also again would like to ask about the people you met in Japan while you were studying. So this time about the students. When you were communicating with Japanese students, did you
Mhm.
find also something different?
It's not really a matter of because they're Japanese students. It's a
Mhm.
matter of Japanese culture is very different. It's a melting pot of culture the same way that Chinese students are a bit different, and it's really a cultural thing. So are Japanese people different from other people? But I think that's where the culture factors in that, for example, Japanese people is your poster child for implicit communication. So basically, they don't explicitly say things. Itsumo kukiyomiru.
Ah, sorry, continue. It's with what?
日本人はいつも空気読む.
Ah, yeah.
So you always read the air.
Yeah.
But for example, if you talk to an American, they don't really read the air. I mean, they kind of do, but compared to the Japanese, they don't. So if you have the spectrum of that, the Japanese students, as Japanese people, are very, very good at nonverbal communication. So I think that's the biggest thing. Like uh, for example, in the Philippines or even in other culture, we don't wait for people to stop talking. We talk in the middle to
Sorry,
show
talking.
enthusiasm.
Sorry, talking in what?
Like you talk to in the middle. Like you make your opinion heard no matter what. The Japanese are more the quiet type, and they politely listen and wait for people to finish, and then they state their opinion. So it's very different in terms of communication style, and it's just the tip of the iceberg. There's a million other differences in Japanese culture versus Filipino culture versus any other culture, I would say. But that's the main thing I could see, the ability to read the air and do like implicit communication.
Impulsive, right?
I think implicit is the word. I'm not sure. Explicit versus implicit.
Yeah. Japanese people are usually very implicit.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you were studying at the university, did you think you wanted to work in Japan after graduating from Hitotsubashi? I mean, at that
Oh,
time, at that time.
at which point of so when I was in grad
Anytime before graduation.
Oh, I got my offer somewhere halfway before graduation, so I
Oh, really?
already knew he working in Japan.
I see. So at that time, did you have anything you are worried about to work for a Japanese company?
Well, my primary concern was the language.
Hmm.
That's why that was my biggest concern.
So other than language, what there was not specifically something you are worried about.
Really, just the language.
Really, that's very. I don't know how I can call how you think, but sounds like quite positive thinking.
And it's a job. I've been careers. I was doing the same job, so
So, well, I just would like to ask you the last question. Do you have anything you think would work well for your future, but from what you have learned in Japan? Something good you want to use in your future?
oh, I think the main one is being quiet and listening to people. Trying my best to read the air. Definitely not Japanese level, but definitely a lot better than how it was before coming to Japan. So trying to understand people and listening to people and letting them speak, and actually it's definitely the listening skills and trying to understand those body movement, those trying to read people. I think that's the most important skill. If I could just even have like tenth of what the Japanese has, then I would love to. I would be very happy with that.
Okay, so for your study Japan experience, that's all for the interview.